Welcome back to this Friday edition of PFT Live. We had so much fun yesterday with our draft of the teams over which we'd want full Madden franchise mode control that we decided to flip it around. The teams that we want no part of in Madden franchise mode. Those are the selections. They may make appearances on the flip side today. But I just, it was so strange because I never quite know, are we talking about the real world or are we talking about the game? And today we're going to try to make it real world and only real world Madden style. All right, Myles, you've got a question for me, and it will determine the first pick. What do you got?
I do have the trivia question. All right, so happy 79th birthday to Vikings Hall of Famer Paul Krause. Who was the team, Mike, that drafted him?
Washington. Boom.
Yes. Wow.
Come on.
Wow. Producers
Come
made
on.
it too easy for you.
Yeah, no, I remember, because when I was a kid, that's not how it worked. You only played for the team that drafted you. That's how the NFL was. Rarely, if ever. I mean, yeah, they had trades, but there was no free agency. I remember there was a point where the Cowboys and the Steelers had entirely homegrown players. No one else from any other team at any time played for them other than the teams that they drafted and signed as undrafted free agents. So I remember that was significant when I heard, oh, wait a minute, he played for Washington, but Paul Krause did, and Drew Pearson pushed off. I thought it was going that way, but Paul Krause was a little bit late getting over to help out Nate Wright on that play as well. So that's part of that debacle from December 28, 1975. But I digress. Pick number one for me, without question, the Houston Texans. I want nothing to do with the franchise mode control of that team because you're stepping into trading away assets. I'm trading away my best quarterback, and this is where it slips into Madden mode. You want to have a great quarterback, especially a mobile quarterback, to be successful running an offense in Madden, except when you're a high-end guy who – I saw the contest last year where the guy used a punter and just ran the ball with – I want a quarterback. So I know my quarterback's not happy. The team has been gutted. The only good news about it, Madden style, is you wouldn't have the equivalent of a Jack Easterby to deal with, but in the real world you would. I would want nothing to do with it, although I know the first move I would make if I was in full control of the Texans for 1 year, the guy on the screen to the left would no longer be employed by the Texans. That would be move number one. Okay. Maybe I'm the wrong day. Maybe that should have been my first pick yesterday.
Yeah, well, then you could get 4 first-round picks for Tua if I'm the general manager of Miami. So I think my first pick here would probably be the Falcons because you have an aging Matt Ryan, you have an aging Julio Jones, you don't have much cap room, you've got the 4th overall pick, which you could use to draft on a QB, you could maybe not, you could maybe shore up your offensive line, maybe get somebody on defense. I don't necessarily know what you want to do, but there's a lot of work that you have to do in order to get the Falcons to be in a place where they could possibly be Super Bowl contenders again. And right now, I think that's a process that's going to take years, and it's not necessarily something that's going to be done this particular year. So for my first pick, I don't know that I would want to be the Falcons, although at least if you are the Falcons in Madden, like I was talking about yesterday, they have some decent uniforms, especially their throwbacks. I don't necessarily know about that gradient thing that they're doing with that one uniform, but other than that, the Falcons have some nice uniforms and they play in a cool stadium.
Yeah, I would take out especially their throwbacks and just say they have some decent uniforms if we only let them wear their throwbacks. The new uniforms, not good, in my opinion, for the Atlanta Falcons. Cap situation, horrendous for the Falcons this year. That is another reason to not want to have full control of that franchise in 2021. Next one for me, the Detroit Lions. I'm not big into the whole kneecap biting thing. That's one of the reasons why I would shy away from it. But the cupboard is bare, and Jared Goff is the quarterback. What do you do around Jared Goff? I think this is a team that is deliberately taking a step back. I think they're going to be very bad this year, and I know as I'm saying it, there's a chance this clip is going to get played in January when they make the playoffs. But I think of all the teams right now in the NFL, if I had to pick one most likely to do anything significant this year, it's the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, I think the Lions are a good pick, and they were on my list too. But I would have to go with the Saints for my next pick, and in part because, look, you're not going to have Drew Brees anymore. I mean, we talk about the coming days. It seems like, Drew Brees' retirement announcement has been coming in the coming days for the last however many weeks. So from that perspective, you may have Jameis Winston at QB. You may want to do Taysom Hill at QB. I don't know, but they're in another situation where their cap situation really, really is not good. So you got to get rid of a lot of players. You're going to have to figure out how you can still be a contending team without your Hall of Fame quarterback. I just don't know that I want any part of that in trying to make them a Super Bowl contender in the NFC South again.
I mean, they still have some very good players under contract, but you're right. They're going to have to make some tough decisions to clear up some cap space to get the team in position where it can even function. And Sean Payton, one of the best coaches of the past generation, if not ever, going to have a hard time getting the most out of whatever he has left after they throw these guys overboard. So I agree with you. That's one that I would not want. I don't want the Bears right now. Who's my quarterback going to be? I don't know. It feels like there's no clear option out there that makes me feel like I can placate the media or the fans. Everyone's under pressure to perform this year. I mean, that's the problem with getting that vote of confidence one more year. Not that they said one more year, but that's the message that comes through. Hey, you get to keep doing your job, but you have even more stress and pressure because you know that if you have a bad season in 2021, it's going to be over. And whoever they get to be the quarterback is going to walk through the door with that kind of burden on his shoulders. So not a lot of great options. Maybe you could try to pull together some sort of a trade for Deshaun Watson. I don't know that Watson even wants to go there. I don't know why he would, frankly, at this stage of his career. How hard would it be to justify giving up a bunch of draft capital to go get Deshaun Watson when you could have had him 4 years ago? That's the first mental hurdle the Bears have to get past. We could have had him. How can we give up all this stuff to go get the guy that we could have had? So for those reasons and plenty of others, the Bears are not a team I'd want to have full control over this offseason.
Oh, no, I wouldn't want full control over the Bears either. But I'm going to stay in the Midwest, though, for my next pick, and that'd be the Cincinnati Bengals. And I think they're in a tough spot, in part because of just the devastating nature of Joe Burrow's injury. You don't necessarily know how well he's going to come back from that knee. And he's been saying all the right things. He says he's been making progress when he talks to the Cincinnati media. I think they're in late January. So he's walking and he's doing all these things, but you're still in a situation now where Zach Taylor may or may not get through the entire next season before getting fired. We don't necessarily know that. There's just not necessarily been much progress made along either side of the ball for the Cincinnati Bengals. So in that instance, I just don't know that that's a team that you really want full control over, because how in the world are you going to make it through this season? And, you've got teams in your division that whatever Pittsburgh does, they're at least still going to be a middling team, right? You've got Cleveland that's still ascending. The Ravens still have Lamar Jackson. They're still going to be good. You're not in a great division just in terms of trying to compete. That's a tough spot there. I wouldn't want any part of Cincinnati.
Yeah, the Joe Burrow injury was so devastating, and who knows if he's going to be ready week one. And it just feels like even as that team stumbles into a great quarterback, are they going to be able to put the rest of the pieces around him? Hopefully for Burrow, they will. It's going to be a wait-and-see thing, and I agree with you. I would not want the reins there. I'm going to take one of the teams that you had yesterday. I'm going to take the Jets. I just feel like the Jets, even with the second overall pick, and even with Robert Saleh as the head coach, I feel like they have so far to go to get to where they need to be because of the Mike Maccagnan approach, trying to build the team from the outside in. Now you've got Joe Douglas, who's trying to build from the inside out. I feel like they still need multiple more pieces before they get to the point where you feel like you can even remotely contend. I would love going out and signing every free agent receiver that I could find, every fast guy, every guy with a 96 speed rating, just sign him up. But, quarterback situation is a problem. Skill positions are a problem. And that's what makes your team go in Madden. Here's where I slip into Madden mode. Who cares about your offensive line? It's not like you need to have a bunch of road graders. It's about having receivers who can get open, running backs who can pop through, and quarterbacks that can buy time until somebody's open. And it feels like the Jets have none of those things right now, Myles.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you on that for sure. I don't know where you can go with the Jets, and it's going to take multiple years. Okay, but I want to, like, if I were just playing pure Madden mode, I would probably say that the Buccaneers would be my last pick because I mean, you already basically have everything. So what do you need to be the GM for?
There's nothing to do.
So, but I would say it would be the Eagles because right now you just got rid of Carson Wentz. You know you have Jalen Hurts, but there are just so many questions on both sides of the ball. How are you really going to be able to get better? I don't know that that's a team that you really want to have full control over right now because even though they're in the lowly NFC East, it's going to be hard for them to be able to compete, I think, next year, especially with the first-year head coach.
And I'm telling you, winning that Super Bowl has turned that fan base into like a rabid, crazed dog that wants another Super Bowl. And they are even more impatient than they were before they won the first one. And they need to be patient this year as this team takes a step back and tries to figure out where it's going from here.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.